like to welcome to the podcast today Brian Brenzel. Did I say that right?
No.
I can't say your last name.
Brenzel.
There we go. We'll start over. I would like to welcome to the podcast today Brian Brenzel. Brian owns Fit to Live personal training here in Denver, Colorado, and he trains out of ATO Fitness in Greenwood Village. And he also is an Orange Theory coach. And how many?
I'm at Wash Park and Glendale right now, so just 2 right now.
So just 2.
For now. We'll talk about it in a month.
Okay. All right. So my first question for you was, what was your first job?
My first job, I cleaned dishes at a Chinese restaurant.
In Philly?
No, it was in Detroit. It was in Detroit at the time. Yep, I cleaned dishes. You didn't know that.
I did not know that. That's why I love doing this. I liked it. This is fun for me. What did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to play baseball. I wanted to play baseball. And then when I realized my attitude did not translate to pro baseball, I wanted to be a sports center anchor. Then I wanted to do a bunch of other things after that.
So your dad owns a construction company.
He owns a construction company in Pennsylvania still.
So was there any pressure for you to go into the construction business, or is that something you thought you might do at some point?
I was hoping that it would never be pushed upon me, which it never was, because I think my parents got divorced, so when I went back to Pennsylvania, he would try and teach me to do these. And one day we were on a roof, and I just decided to take a nap. And after that, it was never pushed on me again.
That is so funny. You took a nap?
I took a nap on the roof.
On the roof?
I didn't fall. I took a nap, though.
That is awesome.
Rooftops, very comfortable.
So your dad was like, never mind.
Yeah, basically.
Never mind.
Basically, it never came back up. Never came back up again.
Never mind, Junior.
It was
not happening.
Yeah, it was okay. What's for dinner? Awesome.
So how long ago did you move to Denver?
2009. So August 12th, 2009. So that would be
math. That's time math. 9 years ago.
So it will be 9 years in about 4 weeks.
Why did you move to Denver?
So I was just kind of getting tired. I lived in Michigan at the time in the Detroit area, and I just kind of got tired of Michigan. And it was when Facebook was just coming up, and I put on there, it's time for a change. I don't know, something annoyed me that day. And my cousins live in Parker, and right. She had commented on my post and said, "Oh, just come out to Denver," and I was like, "Haha, okay." And then 2 months later, I was here. I had never been here before. I packed up all my stuff. They let me live in their basement for the first 5-6 months I was here, and then smooth sailing after that.
But you weren't a personal trainer then, were you?
No.
Where were you working?
I was when I left, I was bartending when I left, and then when I moved here, I found a job. I got here on Wednesday and had a serving job Friday morning, and then it just kind of went on from there.
So how did you move from waitressing or doing serving to personal training? I
would go to the gym on and off 4 months at a time, 4 on and 4 off all the time. And
that's funny. That's a funny cycle. All right, I've hit 4 months, I have to leave.
It was basically 4 months on, 4 months off all the time. And then when I was opening new restaurants, I was a little higher up in the chain, but I was working from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. And the gym was now kind of my getaway. And I looked in the mirror one day, and you might not even know this about me. I'm a big believer in 21 days makes a change. 21 days. So I looked in the mirror one day.
You say that all the time. 21 days.
21 days makes a change.
21 days.
And I was like, all right, 21 days straight at the gym, and then ever since then, if I take 1 day off, you've been there.
I know, you're not
I'm not the best me if I take a day off anymore. So I started that, and then obviously see changes in my life. This was no diet, no anything. This was just working out. And then people would start coming up to me at the gym, asking me questions, and I would give them advice. And then months later, they'd come back and be really appreciative of it and say, "Thank you, it changed this for me." Mm-hmm. And I found that was much more therapeutic for me, much more beneficial for my mindset. And I was happy. I was helping people, and it was not helping people at a restaurant who are not so nice.
Right. Just serve me. Don't actually help me improve my life.
Exactly. At all. So.
Awesome. So that's when you found your niche in helping people with health.
That's when it started.
That's
yeah.
really cool. So you were just like, oh, well, maybe this is what I want to do.
Yeah, I decided that I was going to after all this stuff went down. I was still working at my restaurant job. I was a bar manager at the time, and we were opening up a new place, and I just wasn't seeing eye to eye with our owners basically, and realized that it just wasn't going to go anywhere, and I got tired. So I looked into personal training certification because Hayes, who owns ATO Fitness, we had run into each other at a Chipotle somewhere, and he may not remember this, but he was like, he had pushed me towards personal training before and said you'd be really good at it. And we ran into each other, and I was like, hey, I'm doing this certification stuff, and he, a couple months later, was opening up ATO Fitness, so it kind of all
just kind of happened, just kind of clicked into place. That's awesome. What is your personal training philosophy? Do you have a philosophy?
Do I have a philosophy?
I've only been training with you for a year and a half, and I have no idea if you have a philosophy.
My number one philosophy, it might not be a philosophy, but it's something I live by, is be better than you were yesterday. And that's the quote we'll put on the board.
Yes, that'll be our
quote. And that's really the philosophy for me. Like, I think everyone's different. So I don't have a particular, you're going to have to do this many sets of this many repetitions. I'm not going to make you eat 900 calories a day. I'm not going to make you do that.
That sounds horrible.
My philosophy and my hope is that, and it's what I based Fit to Live off of, it's fit to live life. If you want to go climb that mountain, climb the mountain. If you just want to be able to play with your kids every day, we want to do things that's going to make you better play, or more able to play with your kids. So whatever they need is...
So it's tailored to the client's goal.
Every person.
What if, I know this has happened a couple times, you have men come in and they're just like, I just want to do upper body. Like,
I'll say no.
How do you deal with that?
I'll laugh. And I'll say no.
No.
And I'm like, how would you like it if someone came up to you and just talked about your chicken legs? Like, it's not fun, I bet. And I'll sit them down real quick. I'm like, I know you just want to get gains, bro, but I don't train bros.
We don't train bros.
We don't train bros. Like, we're here to be better at everything.
Right, and what we tend to do is more functional anyway. And if you're just doing upper body, then you're probably gonna hurt yourself.
Well, yeah, and it doesn't happen. Sorry, everyone at the 24-hour fitness and stuff who that's all you do. It's not how we get better at life, and that's kind of what it's about, is being better at life.
Right.
Be better than you were yesterday.
Yeah. Well, I like leg day, so.
Yeah, you love leg day.
I'm always like, is it leg day? Can we do leg day?
That's very true. No, upper body for you.
Yes, I know. So how did you end up at Orange Theory? So you also coach Orange Theory.
I also coach Orange Theory. When I lived in Wash Park, the Wash Park area, I had my dog Brooks, and he was a puppy at the time, and we just play all the time, and we ran into a girl named Katie who had a dog as well. So they would end up being play buddies, they had play dates and stuff like that. So she knew I was training and did one-on-one training, and then we hadn't seen each other because I moved to DTC, and we ran into each other at 24-hour fitness, working out, and I made her work out with me. So in the middle of it, she was like, have you ever done group training? I'm like, yeah, I've done some like that I do, but never something big like that. And she's like, well, you should really come try Orange Theory. And I was like, no, I've never stepped foot in Orange Theory, but everything you hear is just, it's just cardio all the time. And I'm like, it's a lot of rowing. I'm like, and that's not my thing. She's like, just come in, try it out. So the next day, we did an open audition, and it was just me and the owner, two of the owners, Josh Sodden, who's like, he's a recruiter for all of the trainers and a phenomenal trainer in his own, and they basically just gave me a mic and said, go.
They gave you a mic.
Yeah, they gave me a mic.
And it was all over.
Yeah, once you give me a mic, I mean, my love for boy bands, and I'm good. Yeah, and no one on the treadmill, and they were just like, all right, do it.
Right. So Orange Theory has helped build your personal training business.
It helps. Yeah, it helps. Just because I went from knowing you guys who are my clients and knowing your friends. Well, now I've met hundreds and thousands of people who I wouldn't have had an avenue to meet if it wasn't for Orange Theory. And it's as little as if we're friends on Facebook and someone tagging me in a post saying I had an awesome orange theory workout with Brian. Well, I just got introduced to 1,000 of their friends, and 3 of them may be like, well, I wonder if he does personal training, and then they click on my name and see that that is my business. So it's been amazing.
So it's changed the way you do business also.
Oh, yes.
Because now you have choices, more choices.
More choices, more avenues, more data points.
Yeah, a lot more connections.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the connections. Awesome. I think I was So what is your long range plans?
Long range plans?
I know we talk about this like in different ways all the time.
Long range plans. I enjoy both things I'm doing. I would love to own my own gym at some point. Concept yet to be determined. We'll say that for now. But I would love to own I would love to own my own gym and have say in everything that goes on, and there's a bunch of different thought processes behind that right now. Still a long ways away, but that's the end game, is being able to have a bigger platform than I have now to be able to help a broader area of people. Whether
There's
it be
so many franchise options too.
a lot of franchise options. I don't think I'll go franchise route. It's just not my style.
Right.
But I think there's ways that I can help people that have not been addressed yet.
Right.
And that's the goal.
Yeah. Are you thinking more group format?
I really enjoy my one-on-one, so there's always going to be an aspect of one-on-one for me, no matter what I decide to do, because, and even with Orange Theory, group training is so much fun.
It is fun.
But there's something to be said for being able to have that one-on-one time, and you get to hit muscle imbalances or
form stuff
or
yeah.
mental not imbalances, but you get to make true friends one-on-one, whereas you may have a lot of acquaintances in group training, but one-on-one you make a friend for life, and that's really what I love the most about it.
Right, the people stuff.
The people stuff. The people stuff.
I always, every time I do an Orange Theory class, it's just every once in a while, I'm always just watching the people who obviously haven't figured out how to do a lot of the lifting stuff or the weighted stuff, and they're always picking little tiny weights, and I'm always just wow, I'm always I always have the heavy weights, and I look around and I'm nobody has heavier weights than okay.
Well, there's a lot of beginners that have never touched the weight before,
right?
So you want them to start with the lighter stuff, but they also, a lot of people there who maybe have worked out for a long time don't believe you when you say, no, you're stronger than that, and you can be stronger than that.
And you don't have the time to do that on
you do the best you can.
Yeah.
You really do the best you can.
Yeah.
But some people they are set in their ways.
It's true. It's true for anything, right?
Exactly. So you learn to understand that. I used to get really mad at it, and now it's the nature of the beast. You just smile.
Of training people.
You're like, okay, I get it.
Awesome. So I guess I only have one more question for you. What is your favorite fitness book?
Fitness book? Supple Leopard.
Supple Leopard.
The Supple Leopard. It is, for lack of a better term, it's a corrective exercise book, basically.
Okay.
And it goes through so many different muscle imbalances and ways to fix them. So you've always seen me with a lacrosse ball.
Yeah.
And this is basically why this book is, because it's taught me a lot about using a lacrosse ball, resistance bands, things like that, to correct muscle imbalances. So people who have to see chiropractors all the time, maybe they don't have to. People who see physical therapists, maybe they don't have to, if they just learn to address their body properly, self myofascial release, stuff like that, to learn to teach themselves to do it, so they can save money on that aspect.
Right.
And that book has taught me so much about just the body and certain ways to manipulate it to make yourself feel better for now and later.
Yeah, it's been really interesting. I actually see, I see a chiropractor who does the muscle balance stuff too, and it's changed my training. It's changed what I can do, and I'm actually sore on the left side now. It's just the right side.
Different sides.
Different sides. So you've been working on your Instagram a lot lately. And have you seen any?
I've been using, it's it's fun just because when we first met, I told you I'm not a big social media person. I don't particularly like it.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned to enjoy it.
You're kind of a bad millennial about that.
Yeah, I'm a bad millennial about that. I am on the older side of millennials, but I've learned to use it. And yeah, I touched on the Facebook thing earlier, because once you realize that it's everything nowadays, and this is what I tell any trainers who are coming up who ask me for advice, who had the same problem I did, as they're not big social media fans. Well, here's your situation, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook, mostly Facebook like this, where if someone tags you in it, you just got introduced to all of their community.
Okay, right.
And all you did was
Talk
to someone, or you were coaching a class. They had a great one-on-one training session with you. Yeah, but like encourage them, like be friends on Facebook. Awesome. And if they had a great time, they're going to be like, had a great workout with Brian.
Right.
And now Brian just got introduced to everybody, so thank you for that.
Yeah.
And Instagram's kind of the same way, but now it's all about likes and stuff on Instagram, which isn't fun for me, but it's the nature of the beast kind of thing. So half my Instagram ends up being my dog anyway, which drives my business much more than my actual personal training stuff. But he is the cuteness, but it gives you the platform to show what you do. And people, if they're on the video, if they're willing to do a video, they're usually having fun doing it. So now thousands of people are being introduced to your training, and the people that are doing it are smiling because they're having a good time, and they know they're on camera. And they know they're on camera, and no one wants to look on camera like they hate life.
Right.
So now they're happy, and now they're working hard, and they're high-fiving, because we know I love high fives.
We're usually laughing.
And we're usually laughing. And now what just happened? Now everyone who's seen that video, they might not be looking for a trainer, but you know what? When they are, or if they are, they're going to go back to that video in their head and be like, they looked like they were working hard but having a great time. He seems like someone I would want to talk to.
Yeah, we laugh a lot.
We do laugh all the time.
We laugh a lot.
Sometimes too much, but yeah, we laugh all.
Sometimes we talk a little too much during training, but Brian's always like, "Stop talking." Time to work.
Well, and I also say, like, my clients, you guys know more about me than, sorry, Mom, than my mom will ever know. And a lot of times it's vice versa, to where it's just another family member you're talking to, and that's really cool. That's really cool too.
Like I said, you're my most expensive friend.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. Well, and I follow some fitness personalities like Amanda Bucci. Like, she just fascinates me. You know, not because of like her aesthetic, which is amazing, but like what she has done with Instagram and how she's helped people build, Instagram businesses, and like it's just very, very fascinating to me. And she's like 24 or something, and she's built this empire through Instagram.
And that's what Instagram does. And what I love the Instagram models who, we'll call them models or fitness models, who show what real life is like. And I forget the girl's name who, it just slips me right now, but she has what you see on Instagram photo and the real photo.
Yeah, I think I've seen
those
some
are
of
those are the girls, the guys, the fitness professionals that I love, because unfortunately some of them are setting unrealistic expectations, which is my main issue with Instagram itself. But
because these are the 1%. These are the people who are like have the ability to actually look like that.
And these are the people that just destroyed their body for a month prepping for this one day of videos, or this inspirational video to you, that people will click like and follow them and stuff like that. It's those people, which great that you can make your body look like that, but now show your emotional response to it. Now show everything that went up to pulling water, to eating 500 calories a day, things like that.
And how miserable you were.
Because I wrote, if you remember, because I did a photo shoot, and I wrote my entire experience about it, and how, well, we know my experience with it, how it was an experience to do, but I would never wish anyone's body to go through things like that, because
it's extremely isolating too, right?
It's isolating. Your friends do things. It's borderline. My dad read it, thought I was depressed. I'm like, I'm not depressed. This is just the emotional roller coaster that you go through is insane. And some people, more power to them, are okay with that, but I was not.
One of my favorite memes is like, my body type is I work out, but I also really like tacos.
I sent that to 3 of my clients earlier this week.
Did you? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's
Almost
pretty
bought the
much,
t-shirt.
That's
Almost bought
pretty much my
Well, now
aesthetic.
I know what to get you for your birthday.
Yep.
See? Now I know the workout shirt. I know right where to find it.
There you go. I like tacos and bacon.
Should I plug Amazon?
Whiskey and...
And whiskey.
and margaritas. And, yeah.
Or alcohol and workout shirts. Got it.
You got it. So you're currently working on a certification.
Yep, this will be my 5th.
Your
My fifth certification.
And why did you so tell me about that one and why you decided to do that one.
It's a pre and postnatal certification through Fit for Birth. And why I decided to do it, it was the first demographic when I did research when I was training that I found to be I found underserved, definitely underserved. Trainers seem to be scared to do anything wrong with women who are pregnant. And my question about that was, well, why? Why? Like, I understand that you're afraid to do something wrong, so educate yourself to make the right choices.
Right.
So I did my first 4 certifications, which I thought were going to be most prudent to me, being able to train properly. And it was about 6 months ago or so. I was like, okay, I have the drive again to learn more, and this was what I wanted to do. So I researched a bunch of different pre-postnatal certifications, and this Fit for Birth platform seemed really great. It takes a holistic approach at childbirth, which I find really, really inspiring. It's really fun, and I learn about childbirth, which is something that most guys just stay away from.
And then we get to talk about it.
Well, and when we talk about it, and especially with you being a doula as well.
Right.
Like, so I say things to you now, and you're like, "What? Like, how do you know that?"
I'm like, I'm sorry, single man. How do you know about?
Yeah. How do you? Yeah. 32-year-old. I'm like, I find it just awesome to learn about things like that, because you're learning about the human body again. It's a great refresher for things you've learned, and it's a different approach. I've never looked at anything really in a holistic environment, and that's what that is. It's a whole holistic environment, and it just makes you think. It makes you challenge your beliefs. Right. And I already 1-2 chapters in, that stuff that stuck with me, I've already used. So I see pregnant women all the time training at Orange Theory, and I went up to one of the pregnant women was asking me a question about some exercises we had for women who are pregnant, and I was like, well, how many weeks are you? And she said 26 weeks. I was like, oh, you're right at the end of your 2nd trimester. And she looked at me and was like,
good math.
How did you? I'm like, oh, it's something I'm studying. I've studied, so I understand. And she looked at me and said, I actually hired a personal trainer, my first child, and he knew nothing about how to help me, what was happening in my body. And I'm like, that is the exact reason I identified it as the market I would like to reach out to, because no one knows, and most people are afraid to, and if a lot of them are just making stuff up, and that's where the problems come in, is making stuff up. So I found a course, I found a program that can teach me right from week 0 through week 40, and then 6 to 12 months after that. So it's their entire pregnancy. Because
that's like an entire different set of physiology.
Completely different. It is like learning a new language. Just like personal training was at first, learning a new language, it is a completely different language, and it's fun though. And it's great that you can just take little nuggets of information and spit out that you're at the end of your 2nd trimester. And she immediately has more respect for you. And I think it realizes that you actually care, that you want her baby to be safe while she's working out.
Well, and it's trust.
It's trust.
That you know what
and I think it's immediate trust, and that's really awesome too, because now you've also just made a friend, you've made a potential client, but at the end of the day, she's like, okay, like he knows what he's talking about, and he's here for me. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've seen, just like even at yoga or wherever, that we were giving, postnatal women like really, really
bad advice. You should be planking. No. That's a bad plan for diastasis.
Yeah, there's...
Like,
yeah.
you know, these things that people just don't understand. In the fitness world, there's just too many. And you and I have also talked about the people that I know locally that do the pre and postnatal. They don't really even work that much. Like, they're not, like, one-on-one training.
No.
And not an environment that people want to be in.
Exactly.
Sometimes, too.
Well, it has to be a very trusting environment as well. That's what, when you first meet with people, especially, and I'm not fully certified in this yet, but I could bring a woman who's pregnant in and do an assessment and know what I'm talking about, but a lot of trust has to be made basically right when they walk in or before that, because obviously I would imagine that you've met them before,
right.
Most likely at some point, because not a lot of people especially with social media, do you meet anymore that you've not interacted with. In that environment.
Right.
Not a lot of people are just walking in your door saying, all right, I want to train. We've never met before, but you're here.
Yeah. Well, and then now you have the ability, because a lot of your clients are female.
A lot of
and a lot of them haven't had kids yet.
Exactly.
Or most of the ones I've met.
Yeah. Well, what's going to be great is that maybe one of my clients gets pregnant and I'm like, awesome. And here's what we're going to do for you now. And there's no me researching. There's none of that. Like, okay.
And there's no break in their fitness goals.
As there and there shouldn't be. It should be straight. You've been working out 6 days a week, 5-6 days a week. Okay, we're still gonna work out.
Yeah,
straight through. We can still do that. We're gonna do it safely. We're gonna do it properly, and there's gonna be, at least from what I'm studying and from what I truly believe now, and there's a lot of misconceptions in the world, even with present day doctors and stuff like that, of things you can and can't do.
Yeah.
That you're able to do now. It's really cool.
But you just get to still have that benefit of the exercise.
Exactly, and you can have a much healthier pregnancy, much healthier post-pregnancy. And if you tell a woman that she can go down back to her pre-pregnancy size in a week, that sells it right there, because if you're doing everything properly throughout your pregnancy, it's actually something that can happen, which is really cool.
Or not.
As long as you're doing it is. As long as you do everything through your pregnancy properly, it is.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's amazing what a pregnant body can do.
And
I think we put a lot of restrictions on that, which is not really physiologically correct.
Exactly.
Awesome. All right. Thank you.
That's fun. That's good. Like, you didn't believe that. It's true, though.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for listening. If you found this podcast to be inspiring, helpful, and entertaining, please like and subscribe. This helps us grow the community and reach more people. If you are interested in learning more about this episode's guest or accessing any of the books or other resources mentioned in this episode, be sure to check out the description box below. Until next time, be abundant.